Not yet. Oh my God, Maulina. We are live.
We're live. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining once more. This is a House of Girls, a House of Chair Girls show. We'll come in here every Sunday, talking about different topics. And today we have one of those very interesting topics: fake it until you make it. And we're going to dissect it, ask some questions, and just throw it out there so that you can comment, talk with us, and give us your own ideas and feedback on this. Are you faking it, or have you made it? Did you fake it until you made it, or what are you doing? So Solange is going to introduce the topic and we'll go from there.
Hi, everyone. Once more, happy Sunday. Thank you so much for making the time to join us. We appreciate your time. We appreciate you each day you spend a few minutes or a whole 45 minutes with us. We highly appreciate that. Thanks again for making it today. So I see that we do not have any live audience yet, or I see one person joining. Please kindly hit the like button or comment. Tell us where you're watching us from once you join. And today, just as I said, we thank you so much. I see that. We are going to be talking about something that you can look at from different dimensions, right? And it is the whole topic of faking it till you make it. Thank you so much, Cindy Cassie. Thanks for joining. We appreciate you. And it is about faking it till you make it. And why did we choose to talk about this today? The one of the main reasons is because we all know that in life, different situations come by. There are different times where we find ourselves in positions where we need to be what we really are not, which I don't see as a problem personally, but I see it as a means to an end. And that is why we decided to talk about it today. And the whole concept of faking it till you make it is taken by different people in different ways. So if you join us, please let us know what that means to you. Do you see the positive side of faking it till you make it? Or do you see the negative side of faking it till you make it? So just let us know what you think, what your thoughts are around this topic. And if you can think of any advice that you can give to someone who is probably in a place where they need advice on this kind of topic, do not hesitate to share it in the comments. We'll bring up your comments, we'll read it, then we can dissect on it more. So again, faking it till we make it. Have you found yourself in a position where you needed to fake it? Have you found yourself in a position where you knew for sure that, hey, this is not for me, but you had to find your way through? Remember, the way I look at this thing is more of a means to an end. I try not to look at it as my constant, but I look at it as a pathway. So, yes, I have had to fake it until I made it. I've had instances where I had to cover up on my maybe my low confidence or my limited knowledge, and just because I wanted to find my way, right, to find my path and to be able to gain that confidence which we need. So today I would like for us to start this by looking at it in the part of confidence. You all heard me talk about confidence, how I had to fake it in a place where I felt like I was not confident enough to come out looking as if I was very confident and I was like, I was the pro here. And what was the need for me to do that? We all have come through instances in life where you probably feel like, hey, you know what, I don't think I'm ready for this. I'll you say, hey, you know what, I don't think I'm good enough to do this, let me put it that way. But because you know that most things in life happen uh, most things in life will be a process. Let me put it that way. You give yourself that grace so that you can go through that process and become the person you want to become. So, Ice, I'm going to throw this back at you. Just looking at yourself and how far you have come with any aspect of your life, right? I want you to, if you don't mind, to share with us when I talk about faking it till you make it, I look at it a little bit in the eyes of the imposter syndrome, right? I know that there's been research out there and people choose not to call it a syndrome anymore. People they're trying to get it to be called a phenomenon because it is a part of our human being. It is a normal thing. So, can you think of any instances or any example where you found yourself like, hey, I need to be able to tweak the normal me a little bit in order to meet up with this situation that is standing in front of me just because you needed to make it through?
Yes, I think, hello, once again, hello to everyone who just joined. Of course, there's so many instances that I can't even think of which to pick at this moment, where I had to, like, I like the when you say tweak, but just to fit in on today's topic, to fake it a little bit till I could get myself out of that situation or circumstance. So back in school when you're young, you realize that you might have a group of friends, or I had a good group of friends where um, you want to do most of the things that they're doing just to fit in, and then you become like the cool kids of school. But then that's old. I'm now very recently, or maybe in this diverse world where you travel across different cultures, and you're saying, hey, I'm Cameroonian, I'm bilingual, I speak French, but my French is not as good as my English. I always say I speak French that I can communicate with. When it comes to professional French, I don't know that, so I can't work professionally in French, I'll put it that way. So, but there are circumstances where I had to be in a situation. I'm talking with somebody, I'm like, I'm Cameroonian. They're like, oh, you're bilingual. They're like, yeah. So I'll start speaking French in such a way that comes out like really, really a French person. I try to put in that accent right in there so you know, hey, there is a cash in this, especially in a network event where that bilingualism can give me an upper hand. I do that and make myself sound like I can really, really come out like a professional French speaker. So that's one thing I do. And sometimes you oversell yourself, especially in a world coming from Africa, being a Black African woman. I have so many things already against me. So sometimes you have to oversell yourself so that you to boost that confidence and make people know that, hey, even though I have all these things against me, that I'm Black, that I'm a woman, that I'm African, and I come with an accent, I still can. I have a place on the table. So I oversell myself and ensure make people understand that, hey, this is who I am, and I'm gonna get what I want to get. So those are just few circumstances. And it happens, and these things happens like not all the time, but based on experiences where you feel like, hey, your confidence was watered down because you're a Black person, you are a woman, or you're African, or you have an accent. All these things, it's just circumstantial. So you just have to be smart on where to do it and where not to do it.
Yeah, great. So, and again, that actually responds to it. Those instances where we have to, you just have to do. Yeah, you use the for example of French. That's something, probably something that we all have at some point in time. Like, you know what, you needed to find your way through. Not had to do that with work, but because I talk about, hey, you can be anything, and I try to encourage people to get out of their comfort zones and show more about themselves. I know that in as much as I talk about this a lot, I also know that it is not easy. I also acknowledge, I try not to fail to acknowledge the fact that it is not easy for you to, for example, switch careers, right? It is not easy for you to have lived all your life doing maybe being a classroom teacher. Classroom teacher is even good because you talk a lot. or let's say, yes, let's use the example of a classroom teacher, and all of a sudden I want you to become a consultant, or I want you to become a scrum master, or I want you to become an AWS engineer. Those things, in as much as I encourage people to do it, I also know that it is difficult to actually put yourself out there and say it. My background is in research. So I'm talking about my background in my advanced level of education, like into my master's and my PhD, mostly based on research. Yes, once in a while I had the opportunity to talk to students, like to do like the introductory courses of linguistics at the university. But it was not in my place to actually be very to face and to present to people. So when I switched careers into something like Salesforce, personally for me it was a challenge. I can never and I cannot forget the day that my manager at my first Salesforce consultant job, the administrator job is okay because you're working behind the cameras, you're doing your stuff. But the day I was told that I will be doing a demo for a customer, because yes, I was a consultant now, and my manager said, "Hey, Solange, we would like for you to lead this demo." I wouldn't lie to you. I was sweating like crazy. And why? It's not because I did not know my stuff, right? They've given me what I had to do. I had prepared the slides, but now presenting it to a customer, to a group of people that I don't know, it it hit me really hard. I had to practice again and again. I know for sure that my first customer demo was not great because when I listened to the videos, I could hear my voice shivering. I sounded like I had forgotten English. I used a lot of the cleared my voice. I did that a lot. Until I left that company, I used to go back to that video and watch it to remind myself of my first experience. It was not great for me. And so after that, I decided that, you know what? And my manager, amazing woman, she called me and she said, "Hey, Solange, I know you struggled with that, but these are some of the things you can do." And I did take that into practice. So where is this leading me to? This is leading me to, let's talk a little bit about how can you even fake it, right? It's true that we encourage people, hey, fake it till you make it. Again, especially when it comes to building your self-confidence. Thank you so much, DJ, for joining. As DJ just joined us watching from Yaoundé, we appreciate your time. Thank you. So we encourage people to fake it till you make it. At this moment, I'm talking about faking it. If you have to fake it in your professional life, if you have to fake it to build your confidence, if you have to fake it because you needed to throw a sales how do you call it again? A sales pitch to somebody that wants to
An
sell something
elevator
to.
speech.
Yes, you want to fake it, fake it. You have to be able to do those things that will make you sound like a pro. It is very much okay. And so I wanted us to talk about that a little bit. How can we actually do this faking thing? Today, just for the purpose of this show, I would like for us, if you don't mind, Ice, to settle around, to talk around the body, like how we carry our bodies. We talk about our voice. How is your voice? How is your intonation? And also time. How do we use the time that we are given to do, maybe to present ourselves to a group? Is there any of this that you want to throw a little bit of light on?
I'll talk of let me talk about body language. I think that's what you're trying to.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
body language. Um, I have this thing that I always tell myself, and I tell people that the way you walk into a room determines how you will be treated in that room. And sometimes we look at it like it's just a small thing. Sit in a just if you have a workshop and people are walking in, just get into that room early and sit at the back and watch how people walk into the room. The way they walk, you see somebody is going to walk with their head held up. Another person might walk in with the hands, their eyes on the phone. Another person will walk, stand in front of the room, take a quick look around the room, determine where they want to sit, and walk to the seat and have a seat. That is confidence right there. So when I see such people, I know that, hey, that person, that confidence right there, that's somebody I want to be talking, connecting with. And I intentionally, even if I'm going into a room where I don't know what I'm going to do, I don't have anything to contribute, but I intentionally walk into that room, do that, practice that, especially if you have people already seated. Take your time, determine where you want to sit. Don't just rush and sit anywhere. So those things, like, you have to fake it. For me, that's like, hey, I need to build this confidence. I know I'm coming into this room, or you have a class or something that you have to do a presentation. You get in there and you come in with confidence. You get into a waiting area or hospital or waiting you're in an office. How you sit at the waiting on the waiting room. Pick up a magazine, cross your leg, open that magazine, and read just for like 5 minutes in. Then turn and greet the people around you with confidence. Then that voice comes in. You're not like, hi. No, like, hey, good morning. And if the response, like, how are you doing? Like, I intentionally do these things, and it intrigues people. They want to talk to you. It's not like you have a lot, because we always tend to feel like the people who do this, the people who walk into rooms with their heads up, the people who sit in waiting rooms and cross their legs and they're reading the magazines, and read confident people who know everything about themselves, they know what they want, they have everything they're looking for, or they are already in the path of getting whatever they want. That's the misconception. And it's working for these people. It's really working when you do those things, because if you walk into a waiting area and I'm right there, my legs crossed, I'm reading a magazine, or I just sit, I'm not on my phone, I'm just observing the area. The way you're going to treat me is different if you come and I'm sitting at the edge of the chair, hanging there with my phone covered, and you be like, that's timid. So all of these things, you have to portray, put yourself out there like that. Even if you that's not who you are, you got to fake it sometimes to gain that confidence, to gain respect, especially in a culture like in this culture where both of us are living, gain that respect. And when you even look at leaders, we look at leaders, how they sit when they have like interviews, and look at their body postures, look at how they sit. They're not just wrapped, like, no, that confidence, if your shoulders are held up, all those things, they do matter a lot.
Yep,
So,
you hit it, eyes again. Definitely, you hit it again. Basically, the whole body thing was definitely something. Now that you've spoken about the high part of it, like the people who come in confidence. So, how can you identify that you are portraying yourself as uh, a low esteem person? Just as I said, the people who are confident, they come into the room, they sit up high, they use space. They don't come and they cock the body. They make sure that they're using the space that is there,
yes,
right? When you come, if you realize that your feet are all put together, sometimes you even wrap your hands together like this and you sit. No, that just makes the person that is watching you read you and say, oh, that person is not confident. They don't know what they probably not even supposed to be here. So
yeah,
those are some of the things that you do with your body that exposes. Those are some of the things that make people to read you even when that's really not who you are. So again, using up that space, even if you don't even know why you're there, you could be attending a conference and you don't even know what it is about. But the way you walk in there and you sit in there and you turn around and you say hello to the person next to you, that confidence, that is you faking it, right?
yes,
Somebody might just walk up to you and talk about something that you probably have an opportunity to throw an
yeah,
elevator pitch, as you said, eyes. And that is just based on how you presented yourself,
yeah,
presentation. You also talked about voice. I think you made mention of voice again, like how you greet somebody. You don't just turn around and say hello. No, you're like, hi, good morning, right? And when they respond to you, you follow up. How are you doing? Sometimes you even want to go
yes,
deeper, but you speak with confidence. It might not be who you really are, but that is you trying to buy, like trying to make yourself seen and known in an
yes,
environment.
yes,
So one last thing that I want to add to those two that you've talked about is time, right? How we use time. Generally, it is believed that people who are not too sure of what they're talking about or what they are saying tend to speak like really fast. They just go through it like really quickly. And the ideal way to do it is to take your time. If you're asked a question, let me go back to the meeting setting. Like you're new to this company, you're attending your first call or something, or let's say you're a consultant like me and you're being introduced to a new client, how you talk, there is no need rushing. When we rush our speech, it is a sign of weakness. It is a sign that we're probably not too sure of what we are saying. The same thing as if I just go back a little bit and I talk about voice. Generally, you know how when you're asked a question, like the company I work for, one of the most common questions they'll ask you is if you were to live somewhere in the world, where will it be? I have heard, I know, I don't know if I did that, but you will hear some people will be like, oh, um, if I were to live in the world, I want to live in, for example, Kigali. So I'll ask you, somebody will say, hey, I think my favorite place to live in the world is Kigali. No, that does not show that you know what you're talking about. Because the first thing you're ending in your intonation, you're like, Kigali, that's like a
Ali?
question. Are you
Yeah.
asking somebody where you want to live? No. Where would you like to live in the world? Hey, my favorite place to live in the world is Kigali. So your intonation, the way you use your voice, also tells people a lot about you. And it could be that you're really someone that does not know what, like you're not the perfect fit for that place. As I say, everything is a process, but the way you present yourself, that is where the whole faking it till you make it comes in.
Yeah.
It takes practice, right? I'm talking like this today, not because I've always spoken like this. It's because I have practiced, right? It takes consistent practice. The example I gave about my first presentation, my first demo with a client that I said that didn't go well. After that, things just got better. And today I think I do a better job than I did 3 years ago when I did my first demo. And I'm thinking, like, what has changed? It's practice. It's coming out and just owning the space, like talking, having eye contact. A lot of people struggle with eye contact, eyes. That is another thing that so many people. How do
Yeah.
you manage that, by the way? How
Me,
do
I
you,
am,
yeah.
yes, I am, I don't, if, first of all, I don't know if it's culture, but I am, when I talk to you, I look at you. And sometimes it can be, it can be misinterpreted because of the different, some cultures you're not supposed to look at people into their eyes. Others call other cultures, if you don't look at them, they're disrespectful. Others, if you look, it's disrespectful. But it's me, I look at, and when I'm talking to you, I'm looking at you right into your eyes. I'm ensuring that you're listening. You're not just standing there. You're not just, you're actually listening to what I'm saying. And if you're, when somebody's talking to me, I'm actually looking at them. I give them that attention. This is your time. And if I'm working and somebody steps in like, hey, Eyes, this is what I want. I'm like, can you give me a second? Let me round up what I'm doing. Then I can give you that attention that you need. I'm not just talking on, I'm looking at you, talking on my computer, and no. So I actually do a lot of eye contact. I feel like it's respectful for, depending on my culture. Like when somebody's talking to you, you look at them, give them that attention and the time that they need.
Yep, that's good. So you know how to do eye contact. There's a ton of people out there who cannot look another person in their eyes, right?
Yeah.
There's a ton of people who struggle with that. And that just, again, if you meet somebody like that, you're talking to someone like, the message it passes is that this person is a low confidence person,
Yeah.
right? But, and again, in my practice of trying to be more confident in the things I do not particularly have an issue with eye contact, but one of the ways that I've learned that you can do is not to look at the person eyeball to eyeball, but at least look at the person's face, look in between their eyes, focus. They don't look into their eyes, but just this is still part of what? Faking it till you make it, right? Some people cannot stand the eye contact, they really cannot. Right. So, in order for you to not come out as like fidgeting, because the truth is, when you cannot do eye contact, you tend to fidget
Yeah.
because you will be like, and fidgeting has never been a good thing, right? So again, I've read recommendations of like, hey, Don't look at the person into their eyes. Look straight at their face, but avoid their eyes. So you can just look at their forehead or in between their eyebrows. Just focus on there and talk. But the worst thing you can do is to put your eyes down or roll your eyes around. It just says otherwise of you.
Yeah.
So ideally, those are the three main ways that we've identified as some of the things that you can fake in, especially if these are things that I bet that is Cameron in your background.
That's Cameron, yeah.
Yes, it's okay.
That's
Yeah.
Cami.
Yeah. So again, so some of the ways, so the three things that we've just spoken about, if you're someone that struggles with self-confidence, if you struggle, these are three items or three aspects of life that you want to be able to fake it in. And when you fake it, practice it. Because if you look at the description or the caption that is on the video now, it says fake it till you make it. Then you don't have to fake it anymore. Right. So if you keep practicing to walk into a space, into a room and use the space instead of shrinking yourself, open up. Just like animals, I was reading this morning, it says, you know how when animals want to show that they are there, most of the times they open up, right? I remember growing up, those birds that I don't know how they are called. You remember those birds that the fondue face had in their in their house? At some point, it opens up.
Dirks. I did
Oh, yeah.
Dirks.
Yeah, I don't even know what they are called. But again, that's just an example of how you see you want to own the space, like show your confidence. You want to speak with your voice and avoid the okay avoid all of those things. You want to make sure that you are audible and that people don't keep asking you like, hey, what did you say, what did you say? That also puts a wet cloth on your confidence. You want to be able to speak out loud, and when you speak, take your time. Do not rush. So these are all things that if you practice and you fake it, people are going to believe you even if you are not what they're
Yeah.
saying, even though not what you're saying. So this is us now calling on you to make that practice of you can fake confidence until it becomes a part of you. And so that is the color, one of the main call outs of this video. I see a comment from Wills the Cologne. How do you keep eye contact in a video conference call? Look at people or look into the webcam. I look into the webcam when I have to. So if I am presenting eyes, I'll let you answer to this, how you do yours. But personally, like now, if I want to look, I will look at my webcam now. So looking at as I'm talking now, I'm looking at my webcam. Now, as I'm talking, I'm looking at myself, right? So I have what I do, Wills the Colon, is I try not to forget my webcam, considering that most calls now are like are mostly remote, virtual. Yes, I try not to forget my webcam. I lift my head up and I look at my webcam because that is icon. If somebody is looking at you, that is what they are seeing. But I'll bet you that 80% of the time I'm looking at myself.
Yeah.
So again, that's not perfect, but if you can, always try to go back to your webcam, throw your eyes back to your webcam because that is you talking to the people. Anybody that is watching you is seeing your eyes through your webcam. Eyes, how do you do this?
I think it's like a 95% to me. I always look at myself, but not look at myself. I look at the faces on the screen.
Great.
Then that also helps. I look at their facial expressions, and based on their facial expressions, it helps my messaging. Am I doing the right thing? Are they understanding? Do I need to rephrase? Do I need to clarify more? Is it at that point I ask questions? Do you have questions? Do I need to clarify any point based on their facial expressions? Because you
Expressions.
see
Yep.
doubt, you see acceptance, you see, oh, great point, you see, I'm not sure, you see all those. So I look at their faces and it helps my messaging. That's what
Yep.
I do.
That's a really big one. Thanks for bringing that up because, again, I bet that is one of the things that you look at, especially if you're the main person on the call, if you're the presenter or something. It's important that in as much as you want to keep contact on your webcam, eye contact on your webcam, you still want to be able to see people's faces, because what they do with their faces help determine if you
Yeah,
are on track or
yeah,
not. Yeah,
yeah.
so that helps. Oh God, I'm gonna seal Kami's mouth. That's what it takes to have babies. What is Kami? 2 years old. The terrible
Yes.
two. Awesome. Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Colon, for that question. This is insightful, something that we talk about. So, let's switch gears and use our last 15 minutes to talk about the other side of the whole faking it till you make it. I took it upon myself to make sure that we talk about the whole career part of it and presenting yourself at work, because I know that that is one of the things I call myself an ambassador for, encouraging people to go one step forward and put themselves in spaces where they, for some reason, do not believe that they could be, and that's the drive of you can be anything. And so I want us now to switch gears a little more. When do you know, like, okay, when do you know to stop, or how can you know when to stop faking it? Like, hey, this is not what you should be doing. What do you have to say about that? Yes, we say fake it till you make it. Are you going to fake it forever? When do you know to stop?
Um, so I'll say it depends. Personally, and here I want to just put a disclaimer here that it's personal. And for me, if faking it is faking a good virtue or habit, something like that, I'll not even try to stop. But it can be hard because, and just faking it as you until you make it is a very difficult concept, because you can easily sway into both the bad side or the good part. You just be an imposter at that point where you're, oh, now then it doesn't also portray your uniqueness. It can affect you for a very long time. Say if I have a friend that has is very good when it comes to the way they talk, the tone of their voice, then I try doing, I'm like, hi, I want to talk like that. Then I try doing things like that, and it stays with me. Then I'm trying to copy somebody, then it stays with me. Then my uniqueness never comes out. So you never live to your true self, which
Mhm.
is horrible. So I'll say it's just, I don't know where you can stop. There's just a gray line in between. Maybe it's just a suggestion. Maybe faking it as you make it, you should give a timeline. If I don't make it when I get to this in 6 months, it means this is not for me. I'm going to go back to my real self and re-strategize. Maybe that's something that you can do. But really, if you ask me, like, when do you know? I don't know. Because I believe as people, we copy where we copy our siblings, we copy our parents, we copy, so that stays in us, and it's just hard to know when you're not faking it. Am I acting like one of my sisters right now, or one of my brothers, or maybe I'm just doing something that my mom does? So there's a weird balance, but when it comes to these really bad ones, when we're not talking about habits, you're talking about um maybe lifestyle. I want to fake
Mhm.
that I can afford a red bottom. I want to fake that I can go on a vacation, and you keep living a life that is way above your income. That for me, that then is just stupidity. But it can also be you can also be in a tight spot when you have not discovered yourself, when you have not been able to come out and say, hey, this is me. I'm going to live by my own rules. These are my principles. And this is who I am. And you live in a space where you have people doing different things. It's hard to take yourself out of that space. So it's about self development. It's just a hard process. It's growth. It's growth. It's a continuous growing process. So I don't know when you stop. When you feel like, hey, if you can get that moment of realization, we'll be like, hey, I this thing that I'm doing is not working for me, and you step out of it, good for you. But if you're not, somebody might try to bring it up to you. If they bring it up to you, don't just push them away. Just think about it a little bit and try to see what you can do. So I don't know the answer to that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And hey, quick shout out again. Thanks to all of you who are watching us. Thanks to those who have shared the video. We appreciate the hearts. I love to see some more hearts being pumped up here. And for your time again, we appreciate you for taking the time to listen in. Thank you for your time. So yes, so when we say when do we stop? Again, I asked you that question not because I know an answer. So I was not hoping to hear an answer from you. I believe that there is really not an answer to that question because it could be tough to identify when you want to stop. And as you said, there are tons of different ways that people fake things in this life, right? Some of them just like growing up, you could see those wannabes. We see all those people who come and portray what they are not. We see that all the
Yeah.
time. We see it on social media. We see people, again, what do we say? We say people, the only thing that people put on social media are the good things, right? You'll see somebody will not put a picture of the real self. They only put those pictures or videos where they are in those beautiful places. And that is what they're showing. And if that kind of person has a goal in mind, if that kind of person has a mission to accomplish with that fake life, then good for them. The moment they probably get it, then they will get back to their real selves. So I try not to be judgmental of how anybody chooses to fake their things in life, what they choose to fake in. To me, I found the need to fake in my professional life when I started as a consultant because I was the imposter syndrome was drowning me, right? So there was need for me to fake it until I did make it. And today I will say that I am great at what I do. But it has not always been like this. I went through a fake it till you make it process before I got to where I don't have to fake it anymore. So it's the same thing that will happen for anybody in life. The point you're making is there's always going to be those those bad aspects, right?
Mm-hmm.
That if you're not smart enough to say, hey, you know what am I even doing? Like you lose yourself. If you're not careful, you're going to lose who you are just because you want to fake it, you want to belong. Again, the whole idea of growing up in the kind of community we grew up in is more like, hey, you want people, there are some people who just want to belong. They want to tie themselves to a particular kind of status, right? They just want to, let's say we are in school, for example, pick boarding school, right? They only want to hang out only with those kids who are, again, it's a kind of society we are in. There's always going to be the average, the middle class, and the rich, right? Whether we like it or not, that is the world. There's that maybe average or even under average student who only wants to hang out with the rich and pose as a rich student when they actually are not. So to them, having that status as a rich kid in school when actually they are not is what maybe it's their dream. Maybe it's what they are hoping to get at some point in life. But when do you stop? Is when that whole aspect starts taking away your reality from you. There's going to be an end to boarding school. You're going to get out of it. When you get out of boarding school and you go to your reality of your home, what happens? When you go around when you go around hanging out with friends and spend all your money, spend your last dime because you want to have a friend's vacation or a friend, there's a term they call it. You spend all your money. Remember that when you come back from that vacation, everybody goes to their homes. What is your reality? Right. So the whole faking it till you make it has has a good side, and it also has that side where hopefully that realization comes to you and you're like, hey, you know what? It's time to stop. It's time for me, to be my unique self.
Yeah.
Right. So that is how I look at it. I was also listening to some very interesting talk about faking it till you make it. And this young man talked about in school, there is a standard. So he gave an example of how there's been a standard set. Everybody knows that he is the smart one. Everybody knows that, hey, he is the one to represent the school for this contest. To him, he had to keep faking it because he knows for sure that these things don't just come. He works for them. He burns the overnight candle in order for him to be able to be there. right? Yes, everybody thinks that he is the Superman, he is the genius. But the truth is that yes, he will come out and fake it like, oh yes, I got this. But behind the scenes, he is burning the midnight candle just to make sure that he's able to keep up to those standards. So you see, that is the other side of faking it till you make it now, because there's been a standard that has been set for you to make sure that you catch up to it.
Yep.
And if you have to fake it, then fake it. But while you're faking it, don't stay there. Make sure that you identify that point where you don't have to fake it no more because you have become it. Right? So, again, another way of saying this is fake it until you make it, then you become it. Because when you become it, you don't need to fake it anymore.
Yep.
So, what do you have anything else to add, Ice? I think that ideally those were my thoughts for the show today. Except you have any other thing to throw out there with regards to
No,
this
it's just
topic?
you've said it all. It's just fake it until you make it, and you don't have to fake it anymore. And while in the process, don't lose yourself in it.
Yeah.
That's just it. That's basically it. But just
Yep.
thank everybody that is online once more again for liking, sharing, and commenting. Thank you very much. Continue to share the video and just invite a friend next time when you're coming. Like, let's go live and see this.
Yep. Awesome. So we thank you so much again. Let us know if you have any questions about this topic, or if you think that there's another dimension to the whole faking it till you make it phrase that you like for us to talk about. So today, the way we spoke about it was based on our experiences and how we look at it, but it doesn't limit it. It doesn't mean that these are the only ways that we can talk about this topic. There are different ways that we can talk about it, and if you can think of any of such ways, please let us know. Thank you so much, DJ. We appreciate your time. If you can think of any other ways, let us know. And also, if you can think of any other topics that we can come here next Sunday or any other Sunday and talk about it, do not hesitate to bring it up. We are willing to share. We don't know all, and that's why we depend on you too for your own thoughts. And you might have something you want to say, but you don't have the platform like we do to talk about it. So we are willing to talk about the topics that you suggest to us. We appreciate you again, and we thank you for your time. We're going to see you next Sunday, same time, and we hope to have an amazing topic to talk about with you. I is quiet and close the show, and we are good.
As usual, thank you very much. We don't take your likes, your love, your comments for granted. Keep coming next Sunday, 3 p.m. Western time, Eastern. Is it Eastern
3,
time?
3 p.m. Eastern time.
Eastern time and 8 p.m. West African time. Kami is crying. I gotta go. Thank you, love you, and God bless you. Bye bye.
Thank you all. And remember to be good to each other as we prepare for Christmas. Thanks again. Thank you, Tembo LG. We appreciate your time. Bye bye.